Young and the Restless next week. Claire hunted, Kyle pleads, and 3 fresh faces. We have this new LA story kicking off next week, and it comes with a huge recast and 2 new characters, plus lots of intrigue for people who have flown into LA from Genoa City. This week, Kyle told Jack Abbott, Peter Bergman, and Diane Jenkins, Susan Walters, that he can't let Claire go. He can't lose her. Kyle's parents are very concerned about his recent life choices, and he's so desperate to win back Claire that he's pondering doing something really dumb that's just him repeating the same mistake. Kyle is afraid if he gives Claire the space she asked for, she'll realize what she had with him was never real love. But Kyle has already pushed her too far, like when he proposed and wouldn't give her a moment to recover from finding out about his betrayal with Audra Charles Zuleika Silver. So Claire had enough, and that's why she dumped him. YandR Claire graces LA danger and Holden Novak's charm. Kyle doesn't want to sit back and let Holden Novak, Nathan Owens, get closer to Claire. We already saw Kyle say some harsh things to her about going to LA and seeing Holden there, making everything worse. Despite Jack and Diane telling him not to, Kyle is pressing forward with his plan to chase Claire to LA and try to win her back. Of course, that's the worst thing Kyle could do, and he's just going to push Claire further away and right into Holden's arms. But Kyle is going to do what he wants. Next week, spoilers reveal Kyle goes to Claire's mom, Victoria Newman, Amelia Heinley, asking her for info. Kyle presses her, but Victoria isn't comfortable with the conversation. He's begging Victoria to tell him where Claire is staying in Los Angeles. Kyle is certain that Victoria knows where her daughter is bunking, and he just needs an address. Whether Victoria gives it up or not, Kyle likely won't stop until he gets it one way or another. Expect Kyle to be on a plane soon, heading to LA to track Claire down. But it doesn't look like the romantic reunion he's hoping for. Claire is going to get closer to Holden and further from Kyle because he's lost all grip on reality. Young and the Restless. New faces bring chaos to Genoa City. In other Young and the Restless spoilers for next week, Claire is out with Holden, and it looks like they're having Vespers in LA, their usual drink inspired by James Bond. The person serving their drinks is none other than Tamara Braun. She's making her YandR debut next week as Sienna Bacall. She's someone who knows Holden from when he lived full-time in LA back when Damian Kane, Jermaine Rivers, was around before the Dumas drama began. Guess what? This new character also knows Audra. Sienna chats up Holden and Claire, asking if they're a couple. Holden says they're just really good friends, and Sienna quips that anyone is better than the last woman Holden was hanging around with, calling her Audrey something. That gets Claire smirking. Sienna seems like an interesting addition. Tamara Braun's great, having appeared on General Hospital, Days of Our Lives, and other soaps. Young and the Restless. Noah Newman recast and family turmoil. We've got another new face next week when Lucas Adams makes his recast debut as Noah Newman. He's another one who also came from Days of Our Lives. Fun fact: Tamara Braun played his mom there, so it's fun they're both joining YandR together. If you recall, Sharon Newman, Sharon Case, and Nick Newman, Joshua Morrow, were supposed to head to LA together, but he sent Sharon ahead to see Noah because Nick got stuck in Genoa City dealing with the Kane crisis. Next week, spoilers say Sharon calls Nick, crying hysterically and saying Noah's been in a really bad car accident. Nick will likely jump on a plane to LA to be with his family. It's pretty safe to say Noah survives since YandR just announced Lucas Adams' casting, but there might be more to the story than a simple car accident. Maybe Noah got caught up with the wrong people in the nightclub industry, leading to the wreck. That may tie into the third new face debuting next week, Detective Burrows, played by the handsome Matt Cohen. Fans might recognize him from General Hospital or Supernatural. He debuts Thursday and could soon be questioning Sharon and Nick about the accident. Plus, Roger Howarth is expected soon as another new arrival. His debut's set for late October or early November as sweeps begin. Young and the Restless. Kane's legal firestorm and Phyllis's plot. Also coming up, Kane tells Adam Newman, Mark Grossman, and Chelsea Lawson Newman, Melissa Claire Egan, he's suing Newman Media for defamation. Kane's got something up his sleeve and offered Chelsea an exclusive. They report this to Victor Newman, Eric Braden, who's totally unconcerned. But Kane promises the next story they run will have a very different outcome. Chelsea and Adam are worried, even if Victor isn't. Kane and Phyllis Summers, Michelle Stafford, are cooking up something big. They were backing off before, but after that hit piece, Kane's fired up for payback. Expect to see the big reveal of their plan next week. Meanwhile, Jill Abbott, Jess Walton, plans to leave Genoa City soon for medical treatment in London. She told Jack Abbott, Peter Bergman, she's stepping away, meaning Kane must handle his PR crisis alone and Billy Abbott, Jason Thompson, must face the fallout from his choices solo. That's it for next week's YandR Scoop. Full of breakups, legal battles, and new faces shaking up Genoa City and LA. Next week in The Young and the Restless, Genoa City is anything but safe. Shadows are closing in, alliances are tested, and 3 mysterious new faces are poised to shake the canvas to its core. At the center of the chaos is Claire, whose fragile sense of freedom vanishes as she realizes she's no longer just being watched, she's being hunted. Meanwhile, Kyle Abbott is pushed to his emotional breaking point, forced to swallow his pride and plead for mercy. And just when everyone thinks they know where the power lies, 3 newcomers arrive with secrets that could rewrite everything. Claire's worst fear comes true. Claire has spent weeks trying to convince herself that her past no longer controls her future. She's rebuilt trust, leaned on unlikely allies, and dared to imagine a life not defined by manipulation and trauma. But next week that illusion shatters. It begins subtly, an unfamiliar car parked near the Abbott estate, a phone call that disconnects before anyone speaks, a sense of being followed that Claire can't quite prove. At first, she tells herself she's imagining things. After all, paranoia has been her constant companion. But when she finds a cryptic message slipped into her bag, "You can't hide forever," panic sets in. Claire soon realizes someone knows her routines. They know where she goes, who she sees, and what she fears most. The question isn't if they'll strike, it's when. Jack grows concerned as Claire's behavior changes, while Nikki senses something darker at play. Victor, however, is convinced this threat isn't random. In his world, nobody moves without motive, and someone wants Claire silenced, controlled, or dragged back into a nightmare she barely escaped. As Claire confides in Kyle, her voice shakes with a terrifying truth. This feels personal. And whoever is hunting her isn't finished yet. Kyle Abbott brought to his knees. Kyle Abbott has always believed he could talk his way out of anything. Armed with confidence, charm, and the Abbott name, he's rarely had to beg. That changes next week. With tensions escalating between the Abbotts and Newmans, Kyle finds himself caught in the crossfire. His past mistakes, both in business and in love, come roaring back with consequences he can no longer dodge. A secret deal, a misplaced loyalty, and one devastating miscalculation leave Kyle exposed. When Harrison's future is suddenly threatened, Kyle realizes this isn't just about corporate pride anymore. It's about his son. In a shocking turn, Kyle is forced to confront someone he never thought he'd need to plead with. The encounter is raw, emotional, and humiliating. His voice cracks as he admits fault, not just for recent choices, but for years of arrogance that have cost him trust. Whether he's begging Victor to back off, Summer to reconsider a ruthless move, or Jack to save him from himself, one thing is clear. Kyle is desperate. And desperation in Genoa City is dangerous. As he walks away from the confrontation, Kyle knows the truth. This plea may have saved him today, but it's marked him as weak. And someone is already preparing to take advantage of that. 3 fresh faces, 3 explosive mysteries. Just when Genoa City feels stretched to its limits, 3 new characters arrive, and none of them are accidental. The first is a sharp, enigmatic woman with a polished smile and eyes that miss nothing. She claims to be a consultant, but her questions are far too targeted. She shows immediate interest in Jabot's internal conflicts, and seems especially curious about Kyle's recent decisions. Is she a corporate spy? A Newman plant? Or someone working for a power player still lurking off-screen? The second newcomer is a quiet, but intense man with ties to law enforcement, or so he claims. His arrival coincides a little too neatly with Claire's growing fear. He insists he's there to protect, yet his knowledge of Claire's past is unsettlingly detailed. Is he truly an ally, or is he closer to her hunter than anyone realizes? The third face is the most unexpected of all, a familiar surname with an unfamiliar story. This newcomer drops a bombshell connection to one of Genoa City's legacy families, forcing everyone to ask, where have they been all this time, and why come back now? Each of these arrivals brings secrets, and each secret threatens to collide with ongoing storylines in explosive ways. Victor smells blood in the water. Victor Newman never misses weakness, and Kyle's vulnerability is like a beacon. While publicly playing the role of restrained patriarch, Victor privately sets plans in motion. If Kyle can be bent, he can be broken. And if the Abbotts fall, Newman Enterprises rises stronger than ever. But Victor's attention isn't solely on business. Claire's situation troubles him more than he admits. He recognizes the pattern of obsession, control, and fear. Someone is playing a long game, and Victor hates not knowing the rules. As he quietly investigates, Victor begins to suspect that one of the new faces is far more dangerous than they appear. Danger, desperation, and a turning point ahead. By week's end, Claire makes a shocking decision that could either save her or put her directly in harm's way. Kyle faces consequences that may permanently alter his standing in Genoa City. And the three newcomers prove they aren't just passing through. They're here to stay. Next week on The Young and the Restless, fear becomes a weapon, pride becomes a liability, and the future of multiple families hangs in the balance. One thing is certain, Genoa City will never be the same again. She was finally stepping into freedom. Los Angeles promised distance from Genoa City's suffocating secrets, a chance to define herself beyond the tangled web of Newmans, Abbotts, and the ghosts of a past she never asked for. But on The Young and the Restless, distance doesn't mean safety, and Claire is about to learn that the hard way. What begins as a fresh start in LA quickly spirals into a dangerous game of manipulation, obsession, and charm. One that puts Claire directly in the path of the enigmatic and irresistibly smooth Holden Novak. A fresh start that feels too easy. When Claire accepted the opportunity to spend time in Los Angeles, she believed it was a clean slate. No Victor Newman looming over her shoulder. No whispered doubts about her loyalty. No constant fear that her every move was being analyzed like a chess piece in someone else's game. In LA, Claire feels anonymous for the first time in her life. She reinvents herself, new clothes, new routines, and a new confidence that surprises even her. But what Claire doesn't realize is that anonymity is often an illusion, especially when powerful eyes are always watching. Enter Holden Novak. Holden Novak, charm with an edge. Holden Novak is the kind of man who commands a room without raising his voice. He's handsome, intelligent, and effortlessly charismatic. He knows exactly when to smile, when to listen, and when to lean in just close enough to make someone feel seen. To Claire, Holden initially feels like a lifeline. He's attentive without being overbearing, confident without arrogance. He asks questions, but never pries. And most importantly, he doesn't know her past, or so she thinks. Their first meetings feel organic, almost faded. A casual encounter turns into coffee. Coffee turns into long conversations. And before Claire realizes it, Holden becomes the one person in LA she trusts. But on YandR, trust is always dangerous. The red flags Claire ignores. There are signs, subtle ones, that something isn't right. Holden knows too much about Genoa City. He casually mentions names Claire never brought up. He seems oddly interested in Victor Newman's business dealings and Claire's connection to the powerful family. When Claire questions him, Holden laughs it off with practiced ease. I work in finance, he explains. Newman Enterprises comes up more than you'd think. It sounds reasonable. Too reasonable. Claire wants to believe him. She needs to believe him. Because the alternative, that Holden sought her out intentionally, is far more terrifying. LA turns dangerous. The turning point comes when Claire realizes she's being followed. At first, she chalks it up to paranoia. After everything she's been through, fear feels familiar, even comforting. But the feeling doesn't go away. Her phone glitches. Private conversations are referenced by strangers. Someone clearly knows where she's staying. And then there's Holden, always arriving at the perfect moment. Always knowing when she's upset. Always one step ahead. Slowly, the truth begins to dawn on Claire. Holden Novak isn't just charming. He's calculated. Holden's true agenda emerges. As their relationship deepens, Holden's mask begins to slip. He pushes Claire to open up about her past, about Victor, about the secrets she carries, about things she's sworn never to reveal. He frames it as concern, as intimacy, as trust. But Claire starts to see it for what it really is, leverage. Holden doesn't want her heart, he wants her access. Whether he's working for a rival corporation, a shadowy investor, or even someone connected to Genoa City's darkest power players, one thing becomes clear. Claire is the key to something much bigger than herself. Trapped between fear and attraction. What makes Holden truly dangerous isn't his agenda. It's the fact that part of Claire still cares about him. Despite the red flags, despite the fear, Holden hasn't lied about everything. There are moments of genuine connection. Glimpses of vulnerability. A softness that makes Claire wonder if he's as trapped in this game as she is. That uncertainty keeps her off balance. Is Holden a villain? A pawn? Or something far more complicated? On The Young and the Restless, the most dangerous people are often the ones who believe they're doing the right thing. Genoa City won't stay silent. Back in Genoa City, whispers begin to circulate. Victor Newman doesn't like unanswered questions, and Claire's sudden silence raises alarms. When Victor starts digging, the walls begin to close in on Holden. If Victor discovers the truth, Holden won't just lose Claire. He'll lose everything. And if Claire learns that Holden's actions have put her loved ones at risk, the fallout will be explosive. Claire's fight for control. For the first time in her life, Claire refuses to be a pawn. Instead of running, she starts playing the game herself, feeding Holden selective truths, testing his reactions, and quietly gathering information of her own. Claire Grace is done being underestimated. The scared young woman who arrived in LA is gone. In her place stands someone sharper, stronger, and far more dangerous than Holden ever anticipated. What's next? As LA becomes a battleground of secrets and seduction, Claire's future hangs in the balance. Will she expose Holden before he destroys her? Or will his charm pull her deeper into a trap she can't escape? One thing is certain. When Claire Grace returns to Genoa City, she won't be the same woman who left. And Holden Novak? His charm may have opened the door, but his obsession could be the thing that seals both their fates. On The Young and the Restless, danger always comes dressed in desire. And this time, Claire Grace is standing right in its path. Survived corporate wars, forbidden affairs, long-lost children, and betrayals that cut deeper than any knife. But nothing prepares the town for what happens when three unfamiliar faces arrive almost simultaneously, each carrying secrets capable of detonating lives that residents thought were finally stable. The first to feel the shift in the air is Victor Newman. From his office at Newman Enterprises, Victor senses disruption the way a general smells smoke before a battlefield erupts. A routine background report lands on his desk, one that should have been insignificant. Instead, it makes his jaw tighten. A man named Elliot Cross has been asking questions. About Newman Enterprises. About Victor's early days. About deals that were buried decades ago and never meant to see daylight. Victor doesn't like ghosts. And Elliot Cross is very much alive. A charming stranger with dangerous intentions. Across town, Phyllis Summers is the first to meet Elliot face to face. He slides into the chair across from her at Society like he owns the place, flashing a smile that's equal parts charming and unsettling. "You're Phyllis Summers," he says smoothly. "The woman who knows where all the bodies are buried." Phyllis bristles. "Careful. People who talk like that don't last long in this town." Elliot only laughs. He claims to be a consultant, but his questions are surgical, too precise to be casual. By the time he leaves, Phyllis knows one thing for certain. This man isn't here for business. He's here for leverage. And Victor Newman is his target. A young woman with a familiar face. Meanwhile, Sharon Newman nearly drops her coffee when she sees a young woman standing outside Crimson Lights. The resemblance is impossible to ignore. Soft eyes, familiar posture, the same quiet sadness Sharon sees every morning in the mirror. The woman introduces herself as Lila Grant. She says she's just passing through Genoa City. She's lying. When Sharon gently probes, Lila stiffens, insisting she doesn't want trouble. But later that night, Sharon receives a message slipped under her door. An old photo from years ago, tied to a tragedy Sharon thought she'd put behind her. Lila isn't just familiar. She's connected to one of Sharon's darkest chapters. And she didn't come to Genoa City by accident. The wild card nobody saw coming. The third newcomer arrives quietly, without flair or warning. Marcus Vale checks into the Grand Phoenix under an assumed name. He keeps his head down, avoids attention, and listens far more than he speaks. But when Nick Newman crosses paths with him in the lobby, something unspoken crackles between them. Recognition without memory. Marcus knows things. He knows about a night years ago that Nick barely remembers. He knows about a decision Nick made under pressure. One that had consequences far beyond Genoa City. And Marcus didn't come for revenge. He came for the truth. Secrets collide, lives unravel. As the days pass, Genoa City begins to fracture. Victor realizes Elliot's knowledge goes deeper than expected. Deep enough to threaten not just his empire, but his family. For the first time in years, Victor is forced into a defensive position, scrambling to contain a past he can no longer control. Phyllis digs into Elliot's background and makes a chilling discovery. Elliot isn't working alone. He's being funded by someone with a personal vendetta against the Newmans, and that someone has been hiding in plain sight. Sharon confronts Lila, demanding answers. The truth comes out in pieces, about a cover-up, a child lost, and a lie that spiraled into years of silence. Sharon realizes that protecting her family may mean exposing herself to judgment all over again. Nick, meanwhile, starts losing sleep. Marcus reveals just enough to shake him. Mentions of an accident, a payoff, a choice that changed multiple lives. Nick's certainty about who he is begins to crumble, and for the first time, he wonders if he deserves the peace he's built. Alliances shift, enemies emerge. The newcomers don't just bring chaos, they force alliances to shift. Jack Abbott watches Victor closely, sensing vulnerability. Is this the moment Abbott and Newman power finally tips? Victoria Newman steps in, determined to protect the family legacy, but finds herself questioning whether loyalty should always come before truth. Phyllis considers doing the unthinkable, teaming up with Victor's enemy if it benefits her. And Sharon faces an impossible choice: protect the past or risk destroying the future. The storm has only begun. By week's end, Genoa City is no longer pretending everything is fine. Secrets are cracking, relationships are straining, and the new faces aren't leaving, they're settling in. Because in Genoa City, chaos isn't an accident. It's an invitation. And these newcomers didn't just accept it. They brought the storm with corporate wars, forbidden romances, and generations of Newman power plays. But nothing rattles the family quite like change from within. This time, the storm arrives wearing a familiar name with a startlingly new face. Noah Newman is back, recast and reborn, and his return ignites a chain reaction that threatens to fracture the Newmans at their core. From the moment Noah steps into society, heads turn, not just because of the different face, but because of the different energy. This Noah carries himself with quiet confidence sharpened by years away. He's older, harder, and far less willing to be a pawn in the family chess match. Gone is the young man desperate to escape his father's shadow. In his place stands someone who understands power, and isn't afraid to use it. For Nick Newman, the recast hits like a punch to the gut. He's proud to see his son home, but unsettled by the man Noah has become. Their reunion is warm on the surface, strained underneath. Nick senses there's more to Noah's return than nostalgia or family loyalty. There's a purpose, one Noah isn't ready to reveal. Every question Nick asks is met with a half-smile and a deflection, and that worries him more than open hostility ever could. Victor Newman, however, sees opportunity. The Newman patriarch wastes no time sizing up the new Noah. Victor's eyes gleam with interest as he tests his grandson, probing for ambition, weakness, and loyalty. What Victor finds both impresses and alarms him. Noah isn't seeking approval. He isn't asking for a seat at the table. He's already pulled up a chair. Behind closed doors, Victor offers Noah a chance, access to Newman Enterprises, a role with real authority. It's framed as family legacy, but the subtext is clear. Choose the Newman way or be crushed by it. To Victor's surprise, Noah doesn't answer right away. He pushes back, questioning Victor's methods, his moral compass, and the bodies buried beneath the empire's foundation. No one talks to Victor Newman like that, not without consequences. And yet, Victor hesitates. Because Noah isn't wrong. Nikki Newman senses the danger before the men do. She watches the subtle shifts in family dynamics, the way Victor grows quieter around Noah, the way Nick grows more defensive. Nikki tries to be the bridge, but even she struggles to reach Noah. He's polite, affectionate, but guarded, like someone who's already been burned and refuses to be vulnerable again. Nikki wonders what happened during his years away, what scars he's hiding beneath that calm exterior. Sharon's reaction is far more emotional. Seeing Noah again reopens wounds she never fully healed. The recast doesn't soften the impact, it intensifies it. This Noah isn't the son who once needed reassurance. He's a man who looks at her with complicated affection and unresolved pain. Their scenes crackle with unfinished business. Sharon senses regret, guilt, and something dangerously close to resentment. When she asks him why he really came back, Noah's answer is chillingly honest. Because running didn't fix anything. As if family tension weren't enough, Noah's return stirs chaos in Genoa City's romantic landscape. Old flames feel the heat. New connections spark unexpectedly. There's something magnetic about Noah now, a mix of mystery and restraint that draws people in. But intimacy doesn't come easy. Every time someone gets close, Noah pulls back, as if protecting a secret that could change everything. That secret may be tied to business. Whispers begin circulating that Noah didn't come back empty-handed. He's been working on a venture, something tech-driven, innovative, and potentially disruptive. When Victor catches wind of it, the gloves come off. Newman Enterprises doesn't tolerate competition, especially not from blood. Victor wants in, or wants it destroyed. Nick is torn, caught between supporting his son and preserving the fragile peace he's fought so hard to maintain. The breaking point comes at a family gathering meant to celebrate unity. It starts politely. Toasts are made. Smiles are exchanged. But beneath the surface, tensions simmer. When Victor publicly announces plans that directly undermine Noah's project, the room goes silent. Nick looks blindsided. Nikki looks furious. Sharon looks heartbroken. And Noah finally explodes. Years of restraint shatter in one blistering speech. Noah calls out the manipulation, the control, the legacy of emotional collateral damage left in Victor's wake. He accuses the family of confusing loyalty with obedience and love with leverage. The words cut deep because they're true. When Victor fires back, it's with all the force of a man unaccustomed to being challenged. But for the first time, his authority wavers. The fallout is immediate. Nick demands answers. Victor tightens his grip. Nikki draws a line in the sand. Sharon worries Noah has painted a target on his back. And Noah, standing in the wreckage of his own honesty, doesn't apologize. Instead, he makes a promise that sends shockwaves through the family. He's done playing defense. From now on, he's playing to win. The recast doesn't just refresh Noah Newman, it redefines him. This is a Noah who understands the cost of being a Newman and is willing to pay it on his own terms. A Noah who refuses to be consumed by the family machine, even if it means going to war with it. His return forces every Newman to confront uncomfortable truths about power, legacy, and the damage they've normalized for decades. Genoa City is bracing for impact. Because when a Newman comes home changed, it's never just a reunion, it's a reckoning. And with this new Noah Newman, the family turmoil is only just beginning.